There's something just so incredibly important about understanding what your own personal homeschool philosophy is. Homeschooling is great, totally believe in it. I love being a mom. Parenting is wonderful. Children are a blessing. But have you ever stopped to go, what is my goal in this? What am I trying to do here? What is my philosophy when it comes to their education? I think all of this can get so overwhelming and just so much sometimes that what if we just hit pause first and we figure out like where we are on all of this, how we really feel and what we're trying to accomplish. And then that gives us some framework to move forward and make sure that all the decisions we make as a parent, as a, their homeschool education, and we look at all of that, we know that we're on track to reach our goal because we've thought about our philosophy, we've thought about our goal, and now everything that we do can just be stepping stones to support that. You've got to hit pause and think about what your own personal homeschool philosophy is first, and then you have that framework, and it makes things so much smoother going forward. Hey friends, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Home, and welcome back to our channel. We've been talking about homeschooling stuff all week long. 'Tis the season for back to school, back to homeschool for a lot of us. And I love sharing about homeschooling because it is something that I am just so passionate about, especially from a heavenly minded, eternally focused aspect. And so super excited to share with you guys. We have lots of things coming out, including first and foremost, we're doing our back to school open house for the Heavenly Minded Homeschool Academy. So we're hosting that this Friday, tomorrow, if you're seeing this on the day it comes out, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a link down in the description box. You guys can go to our website, heavenlymindedhome.com, and click to add it to your calendar. Our Zoom link is right there. So Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, you guys can come over and join us for that. We're going to share all the details about the Heavenly Minded Homeschool Academy, its goals, its philosophies. You're going to meet the teachers, learn about the classes. It's all over there tomorrow. So come and join us. It's going to be a great time. But regardless of any of that, today I wanted to talk a little bit more. I kind of mentioned it in the videos from earlier this week. Setting up your own philosophy, like your own homeschool philosophy. I've shared with you guys all the ways that I have nearly blown it, ways I've nearly ruined our kids and our homeschool approach, things I wish I would have known, things that have really been huge learning experiences for me in the past 12 years of homeschooling our 4 kiddos. And so setting up a homeschool philosophy was something I didn't realize I even needed at first. I honestly never thought about it. And then it was like the more we went on and the more I learned just, through failure usually, the more I really started to go, you know what? I need to think about my philosophy here. There's many great homeschool philosophies out there, Charlotte Mason, classical education, unschooling, there's all these different methods and ways to go about education. And that's wonderful. That's great. Go study them, learn them. They're great tips and tricks and things to kind of help you through that process. But more importantly, I said, what is our philosophy? What is homeschooling to us, to our family, and what our children are going through and what we have on our plates here in this season of life that the Lord has given us? And so these are the things I want to talk about today with you guys. If you want to grab a cup of iced tea or whatever it is you might be doing and sit down and chat with me, I really hope that this can be a beneficial conversation and it can be a resource that can be shared and given to other homeschool moms and homeschool groups to say, hey, let's sit down and think about this, because we want to encourage and equip one another to really have a wonderful time on this adventure of learning with our kiddos. I think figuring out your own personal homeschool philosophy really starts with 2 basic things. So I'm going to share these with you, and then I will share with you what our homeschool philosophy personally looks like to give you kind of that example. First and foremost, you need to think about, what is your goal with your children? This was such a simple question, but yet it was so huge to me because I've been a mom since I was 17 years old. Our oldest is 18, almost 19. He'll be 19 in September. So we're like almost there. I've been a mom for a hot minute, okay? And I never once stopped to think about, what is my goal with my parenting. Like for my kids, like what's the goal I'm working towards? If I buy a house and I say, okay, my goal is to have my house paid off in 15 years instead of 30, well, that's going to give me a really clear guideline. I'm going to be able to kind of work backwards and say, okay, then it means I need to pay this much, I need to save this much, I need to do this, right? I can put together a very clear, like clearly laid out, clearly defined timeline of what I'm doing to then reach said goal, right? Very simple. We can think of that in many life arenas and say, yep, that's a really easy thing to think through. So what about our parenting? What's my goal here? I have 18 years, give or take, with my children here in my home, directly under my care and my responsibility, right? Like very focused time. I'll always be a mom, always, but you know, I have this set time. So have I really thought about what I am prayerfully trying to accomplish in these 18-ish years that my children are here and under my complete responsibility to train up and to prepare for their lives, their walk with the Lord, their future? Stop and think about what that ultimate goal looks like. Have that conversation with your husband and say, man, what is our goal here? I think we get so focused and, you know, they're born and you're trying to keep them alive and then you're trying to do all the things, right? And it's just, there's so much going on, but have you actually stopped to say, what's my end game goal here? That's number one. The second would be in creating your homeschool philosophy. I highly encourage you to stop and really think. Truly take to heart and ponder, what does the ideal homeschool experience look like to you? When you think of your family, you think of your children, you guys think of whatever you have before you in life, and you know your family better than anyone else, right? What does that ideal homeschool experience look like to you? Because that can be really different for every single person. And sure, we love sharing our homeschool. We've been sharing on YouTube for the past 5.5 years of what homeschool looks like for us. Your homeschool doesn't have to look like our homeschool, but you definitely need to stop and think about, in that ideal scenario, what are you wanting your homeschool to look like? That's going to be a really big refining tool in putting together your homeschool philosophy. So you're going to have a lot to think about, but let me give you an idea and share with you what our personal homeschool philosophy looks like. So for our family specifically, again, it's me and my husband, and we have homeschooled 4 kiddos. Our oldest, Travis, he will be 19 this September. He just graduated, so he is officially done and kind of moving into like his first steps of adulthood, which we can talk about in a video. If you guys would like to know more about like what we're doing now that we're practically there, leave me a comment down below and we'll be happy to share. Then we have Lily. She will be 13 this fall. She's going into the 7th grade. We have Virginia. She is 10, and I feel like a horrible mom now. What grade? I think she's going to be in 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. See, homeschool life, you have no idea what grade your kids are in. And then we have Olivia, she's 5.5, and she's kind of starting that kindergarten-ish area. We definitely subscribe to a better late than early approach to early childhood education, but that's where our girls are. And you guys be sure to subscribe and turn on those little bell notifications, because we will be sharing with you, if you're interested, we will be sharing like literal day-to-day, this is what back to school, like our first day of school looks like for us. I will share with you guys the literal what we're doing for each of our kiddos at their age and stage that they're at. So if you guys want to see all of that and the like, hey, come homeschool with us and see what's going on and how it works for us using this philosophy that we're going to talk about, you guys can join us next week, because I'm going to be sharing all kinds of videos about that. And then you can also, of course, go to the main page of our YouTube channel, where we have been sharing vlogs and videos of our homeschool for the past 5.5 years. So you can go check those out if you want to just see a kind of glimpse into the way our family does it anyways. But those are the kiddos and who we have, and this would be the homeschool philosophy that we have found works best for our family and that we have followed for the past I would say that it took us, if we've been homeschooling for about 12 years, it probably took us about a good 5 years to kind of figure this out, and then we've really subscribed to this since then. And for us, first and foremost, when it comes to our homeschool philosophy, it has to be biblically based. This is really big for us. When we talked about setting our parenting goal, for me and my husband, our goal was that our children will know the Lord and walk in his ways. And so in order for them to walk in the ways of the Lord, they have to know his word, because that's how you know the Lord. And so that goal here, making this our number one homeschool philosophy, our number one priority, that's then supporting our ultimate parenting goal. And so having everything that is biblically based is a huge deal to us. It is our utmost priority, because again, our kids can't walk in his ways if they don't know what those ways are. And so bringing everything back to a biblical worldview, to a biblical basis, scripture is absolutely sufficient for all in our lives, and training our children up with these truths is really, really important. This is the core to our homeschool philosophy. The second point here would be that our homeschool philosophy takes a very child-led approach. This allows our kids to take ownership in their educational experience. We all know that if there's something that we're interested in, it's not a chore, right? Like if I care about learning about this, it's not a chore to sit here and watch videos. It's not a chore to read a book or some articles on it. It's not a chore to spend time working in it when it's something that I personally enjoy. And that same approach applies to our children and their education. So that little key piece of having a child-led approach makes such a difference with our kids. Education is an adventure. Homeschooling is an adventure, and allowing them to take some responsibility and ownership in what is it that you're interested in? What is it that you want to learn about? Where are these gifts and talents that the Lord has given you that we can really foster and build up? So a core component to our homeschool philosophy is definitely that it is a child-led learning approach. Now, the third key component here would be a philosophy that really supports being explorative and practical. I like my kids getting hands-on. I like them being able to not learn it and hear about it, but to see it and do it and be able to teach it to someone else. I love being able to run into new opportunities and new things that maybe they would have never thought of before, but then they get this hands-on opportunity that shows them I'm not really interested in that at all, or I am really interested and I never would have thought about that. When we can connect to something, it makes such a difference. And in the same way, there's so many lovely curriculums out there, but they're covering stuff that you're probably never going to use in real life. So unless you have some sort of like desire to learn that, it really can just cause a lot of issues and a lot of heartache when we're forcing our children to learn about things that they honestly are never going to use most likely in their life. And so when we talk about our approach from everything from math to science and history and, all these different, arts and things, we go, are you actually going to use this? What is a way that you can get hands-on with this? What are the things that you will use that we want to really explore and dig into, so that way you can feel confident in your ability to know and understand those different things. Having an explorative and practical approach to our homeschool really has made a huge difference in focusing us in the right areas that we should be, but then allowing the lessons to truly connect with our kids and build them up in a way that they see it, they get it, and they're excited to learn about it. The fourth point here to our philosophy that I think is really important and shouldn't be overlooked is we want our homeschool to really support that preservation of childhood. Childhood is such a beautiful, just lovely time of life, and it is so fleeting. It's gone so quickly. And we live in a world that is destroying the innocence of childhood. It is so quickly being just stripped away from them, from everything to, little cartoons, the little things they're watching, the education of the public system. And I don't want that. I want to really preserve this time of childhood. I want to encourage this time of play and adventure, of exploration, of innocence. And I think there's something so beautiful about that. We're seeing our kiddos as they're getting older, and this is something we've really focused on for a long time now, and kind of seeing the reward of that in our kids and just the maturity that it's bringing to them is a depth that I know I didn't have, and I love seeing it in them. So being able to support and preserve childhood is really, really important to us here in our homeschool philosophy. And that leaves us with our fifth point here in this. I want it to be simplistic in practice, but rich in content. Maybe you're a mom who loves putting together all the things, and your kids will sit there patiently while everything is like perfect and curated and super in depth. That's wonderful. That's fantastic. Do what is best for your family. That is not my family. And that does not work well for us. I like simple. I like direct. I like to the point. I don't want to spend all of my time having to prepare and curate and pull together all of the last little details and pieces. I want to get in there with my kids. I want to be hands-on. I want to do the things we need to do, and I want to enjoy our life and have fun and get out there and just pursue all the things that the Lord is putting before us. And so for us, we like to keep it very simplistic. I don't want to have a bunch of materials and a bunch of things I have to check off and all this here and all this there. I don't want to deal with all of that. I want to check off the boxes that need to get checked off. I want them to be rich and valuable and really just something of depth and substance. And then I want us to go enjoy our lives. I want my kids to be out playing. I want to be hiking. I want to be exploring. I want to be serving in all the ways that the Lord is putting before us. And so these key elements are really, really huge to our family, and pulling them all together to create our homeschool philosophy really does set our entire family, our whole homeschool, it sets us up for success. So friends, I hope that sharing about this can be an encouragement to you to really stop and think about those first two questions of, what am I doing, right? What does matter to us? What does that ideal homeschool look like for us? And then by sharing our personal family homeschool philosophy, that can be an encouragement. That can lend a little bit of kind of, shed a little bit of light, lend a little bit of been there, done that, of how we came up with this philosophy. Just thinking about these things and saying, God gave me these kids. These kids are a blessing, and to train them up in His ways and His truth, and honestly, to just get to be with them and enjoy them is so wonderful, is so lovely. And I want to create a lovely life because I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for each and every day that the Lord gives me, and I want to make the most out of it. So I pray these things can be a blessing. You guys, again, go back and watch the other videos. We've been talking about this stuff all week long. Come and join us tomorrow, Friday the 28th at 2 p.m. so you guys can get all of the details about the things that we're offering. We offer them that they might be a blessing to you. They were a huge blessing to my family. We've had so many co-op families over the past couple years. I think that there is value in sharing and lifting one another up, right? Encouraging and equipping is so important. And if our family can do a little bit of that and be used by the Lord to serve you, then amen. That's absolutely what we're going for. So links are all down there in the description. I can't wait to hear from you all. I love when you guys kind of comment along as we go and we get to chat and catch up on all of this. And if you want a little something else to watch, I highly recommend you check out this video right up here. I think you're going to enjoy it. Otherwise, I will see you guys all right back here tomorrow. Bye, friends.